Okay, just a brief update. I'll get my water off camera before I start this time. Just had a thought briefly, or just a bit ago. Talking about potential. I was, for whatever reason, I was thinking about various animals and thought about birds and how they have to maintain their bodies for performances, you know, as a flying machine. You know, and deer, you know, they can't let themselves go, get fat, and not be able to run fast enough. You know, they die. You know, there's just certain characteristics that have to be maintained by the animals out there, and we are no exception. And our exceptional characteristic, which differs us from every other animal on this planet, is our brains. Especially our higher reasoning, and that is within our potential. You know, we have this exceptional capability of higher reasoning. So what can you say ethically, philosophically, when maybe when a society is defined by, for example, a lack of use of this primary function of humans, which defines humans as humans? If this one primary characteristic isn't exercised, doesn't that mean that the people aren't human? Doesn't it also mean that this is not a human society? You know, you have to think of it in terms of the species, in terms of the planet, in terms of the future. America is destroying humanity's future and the future of many other species. And it's not like we've made a conscious choice to do so. We just don't realize that the conscious choice we have made, which is to not stop what we're doing, is a choice that leads to this destruction of our own futures, of the futures of our children and their children and other species. And I don't think anybody out there can sit down and say that they are justified in being this way when it costs other species and other people their right, their ability to enjoy equally. There's nothing out there that says some person deserves more than some other person. There's nothing out there except the person who claims to deserve more. There's nothing out there that says someone should get more than someone else. And yet that's all that that's precisely what American society is based on. It's the idea that some can get more than others. And it's wrong. No, you shouldn't get more if you work less. For example, if you contribute less to society, you shouldn't get as much as someone else. But that's not what this is about. This isn't about fairness. Fairness comes automatically with moral development. You don't need to worry about things like that. All you need to worry about is having an equitable society and having a morally developed society. And then everything else works itself out. So all we have to do is concentrate on education, using our brains, achieving our potential as humans, as thinking machines with these massive brains capable of incredible feats of reasoning. Why aren't we doing that anymore? You know, it's really sad to see. It's really tragic, to be honest, because the human species is capable of so much, and yet we've reduced ourselves to, I don't know what we've reduced ourselves to. We've got a few scientists out there still working to discover things, but even they have lost sight. I mean, the idea of time travel being possible, no, it's not possible. Physics, get it through your head. There are two forms of time. Time you're concerned with, that you measure, which is the only one that can be measured, is relative time. And that has nothing to do with time itself, except that it sometimes coincides. Sometimes it doesn't. Because in absolute time, 20 years ago is 20 years ago. There's no change in it. Relative time, 20 years ago, can change, depending upon the speed at which you're traveling. Anyway. It's very depressing. being one who sees what I see and knows what I know, and seeing how much of the world is basically lost. I mean, how much of humanity is lost. We've lost our purpose. We've lost everything, and it really gets to me. It's emotionally painful. It's a lot to deal with. Knowing what we could do, knowing what our potential is, and seeing where we are in relation is just so tragic. It's hard to deal with. It's very hard to deal with. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I don't know what the future lies, or what the future holds. I know what I want it to hold, but I'm not entirely sure. It's going to take some time to get this boat ready to go. I've been working on organizing the work that needs to be done, and it's basically organized into two categories. Just get it livable and get it saleable. After I get it livable, I can work on transportation, because I'll be living on the boat if I don't haul it out, or if I do. I don't know. It's tricky. The motorhome I'm going to take down tomorrow and get an estimate to see if it can total it out. If I can total it out, get a check for 12 grand for the motorhome, whatever, minus the deductible, so 11 grand. Would be nice. Would be nice. I'm even thinking about having a essay contest where someone can, like, send me a write-up of why they deserve this motorhome for 5 grand. Which is what it's worth, but still, or $2,500 or something. Do someone out there a favor. And anyway, get the motorhome estimate, hopefully get it paid out, and then probably move it down to wherever I'm going to be working on it. If I haul it out, I'll definitely will move the motorhome down there where I'm hauling it out, because I'll stay in the motorhome while it's hauled out. Work on it in the dry. But first things I got to do is I got to get so I can have water in the boat. I got to get it so I can have gray water and black water storage. So I got to fix the toilet setup, mix the water tank, drain it, clean it, refill it, fix the plumbing here and there. And I got to work on the generator, the electricity, and I got to get a refrigerator in there that works, and a stove hooked up, or hook up the stove that's there. I don't like electric, but I don't see that I have an alternative. It's just going to be the way it is. On the electrical, once I get the generator hooked up, I want to set up a battery system. If I recall, there's plenty of room in the engine room for plenty of batteries. I mean, I could put 32 batteries in there, 32 automotive and marine cell type batteries. I don't think I want to go that crazy, but I would like a few in there. I think if I had 8 marine batteries set up, I think I'd be happy. When I do that, I'll get solar cells and a wind generator as well. First thing I gotta do is I gotta build a gangplank. I'll probably build a temporary one, but my permanent one, I've been designing one. This is going to be essentially a top part will be a landing, be attached to the deck, loose, removable but attached to the deck, so I can go on either side. And then I'll have a platform, and then I'll have another one that comes down that it can rotate, and then a flat platform, so it can go anything like that. And it can also swing out a limited amount. And the way it'll do that is I'll have flat slats coming down, and then those slats, they can move relative to each other. And as they do, they get close together, so it'll limit itself. And I want to have it so that it limits itself to very little bit of swing out. I don't want it to swing all the way out. I mean, no more than 30, 35 degrees, I think. But I apologize if I sound tired. I'm incredibly exhausted. I had an extremely rough night last night. I almost lost Max again. Gastric torsion again. I've got to keep better track of when he eats and our activity. I think he'd eaten, and then I let him run around and walk down to the creek and other things like that. And I spent 3 hours most of the time assuming I was watching my dog die. It was hard, but I think I came through it a little bit stronger. I don't want to have to go through it again, but I mean, it's possible to just turn off the emotions and harden myself to this stuff, but I don't want to. I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be a person that can see suffering and ignore it and not show emotion. I don't want to be that way. I've seen people like that. Craig was like that. And, I don't want to be that way where it's just, yeah, I lost a dog. It happens. No, I want it to hurt. I want it to hurt, because if it hurts, then I remember not to do it, not to do something to cause the loss. That's what emotions are. Emotions are our natural reaction to, our automatic reaction to external stimuli to cause us to act without thinking. And back to the conversation I started at the beginning, that is how you are twisted around, that you don't have to think. Your emotions do the thinking for you because of what you're told on television. You react to emotions and the emotions of situations rather than the logic of situations, because the logic is harder to think through and you have to actually consciously do it. But the rewards are tremendous. But how do you see that when you get a reward, a response to your you get a reaction to your action that's based on an emotional response. You do what your television tells you and you get a response. You don't understand that response is categorized. It's one of just a few choices. You don't understand that what that means is that when you perceive others who don't do that, such as myself, that you judge the person to be different, to be an outsider, to be unusual, to be weird or whatever. And I don't know how to get through to you. You have to think for yourself. You have to judge each person on their own merits, not your perceptions of them, not their appearance, not how they carry themselves or how they compare to what your image, the image in your mind that was created artificially by television. I mean, how do I get you to understand? Anyway, I'm very out of it now. Max bit me when I was trying to help him last night. Broke the skin. I'll miss you guys. Hope to see you again. I know. Well, I'm hoping to see at least one of you. It's gonna be an interesting life. I think I've been practicing for this all my life. I've set off on so many adventures. I ran away when I was 13. I set off on a solo boating adventure when I was 13. I moved across the country when I was 25. Before that I drove to Alaska to get a dog. I didn't do that alone, but I set off on my own with someone else that I wasn't family or whatever, someone new. I moved back across the country, and then I moved back up to Idaho across the country after moving to a new state and city with a new person for a little while. It's all been adventures, and it's all been leading to this. I'm ready. I'm more than ready. I want to get the hell out of here as quick as possible. I hope I can set sail soon. I give myself 2 weeks minimum to do all this work that needs to be done on the boat. That's not for now.